Hi, I'm Rihanna and welcome to my little place on the internet. Today I'm going to be sewing this pattern here, McCalls M8415, and I'm going to be doing the vest. Now, you'll note if you watched my previous video on one of my upcoming sewing plans, you'll note that I said that I wasn't going to be doing this because my husband couldn't make it to the Bridgerton party, but we thought that this would be a great little outfit for a little vest for him to wear to a wedding we're going to. So I'm going to be using this fabric and making a little vest. If it turns out good, then he'll wear it to the wedding. If not, then at least I've practiced making a vest and he can buy something else to wear to the wedding. So that means that this is now the next project that I need to complete. I need to get at least the mock-up done very soon because he's going away soon, and I just need to make sure that that fits so that I can make this and have plenty of time. So let's get stuck into this today. So all my pattern pieces are now cut out. So all I'm going to do now is transfer the markings from the pattern pieces onto my pieces of fabric. And I'll zoom in and show you up close how I do it, because I think I've got a pretty nifty little trick. And part one of that trick is that I use these friction pens. So these, if you put an iron on it, the markings come right out. So I use these all the time and they're super cheap. I got the 3-pack, so I've got a variety of different colors I can use. Another trick, particularly for marking darts, is I snip a little bit at the ends here, just a tiny bit on the lines, but I also put pins through the dots, and then that way, once you remove the other pins, you can take your little pen and mark right on the pins. And I'll do that for this one too. And also up here at the top, I'm just going to write 6 and front lining A. Just because this is my mock-up, then I can use this as my pattern to do my actual fabric. So I haven't filmed anything, but I've been making a lot of progress on this pattern. So I'm up to step 15 so far. Now that may not seem a lot, but I have the back and front done and sewed together. Let me just show you. So here's the front. I've got it sewed together. I've got my, don't know what these are called, but the fake little pocket thingies are on. They don't look the greatest, but that's right. This one's a lot better than this one. Got my darts in, got it stitched to the back. I have these on, these little back straps. I sewed them the wrong way, but that is okay. Like this should be, you shouldn't be able to see this, and it should look neat like this, but from the front side, these are the back straps. They look atrocious, but I promise the real ones will look so much better. And then the lining, I've got the front of the lining ones sewed up together. Now I realize that I'm one piece short because this pattern piece here says that it's for the lining and the vest back. So I need to cut out another one of those. So that's what I'm going to do now. Then once I've done that, I will do the darts and then attach it at the shoulders to this. And then we're making a lot of progress. And that's a wrap. I've got the practice one finished. Now all I need to do is wait for my husband to get home from work and then he can try it on. I didn't do the buttons, but that's because this is the practice one. I'm not going to. There's plenty of things wrong with it. These aren't finished right. And yeah, but other than that, pretty happy with it. This looks pretty atrocious, but I think it's just how thick these two fabrics are, and I didn't clip the inside either before I turned it, but that is okay. All of that will be done on the correct one, but I really like it. I'm very pleased with this, and it wasn't too hard to sew either. I imagine the buttonholes will be a little bit tricky. I will end up practicing them on this first, once I know if I have the sizing right, because I've never done buttons before. So we'll end up practicing them on this, but I'll get started on the actual one first. Now that has taken me, it's about 5:30 now, and I think I started that at about 2-ish. So only a few hours, so not too bad. Obviously the real one will take me a lot longer because this is a little bit rushed, but I'm very happy with it. Okay, so it's the next day. My practice went perfect. This all fits amazingly. So now it's time to get stuck into doing the real thing. Now it's Sunday and it's about 5 p.m. at the moment. I've had all day that I could have been sewing, but does anyone else get like this? You get in a bit of a funk. You have a project that you really want to do, but at the same time, you don't want to do it. So I know that I really want to do this and that I really want to get it done within the next week, but I just haven't been able to find the motivation to start it. So I decided now's better than never. So let's get started. Today I did go, so here's my fabric, and say I did go out and get the lining. I think these match so well and will be nice. This is nice and smooth. And then, where did I put the buttons? Here they are. We also got buttons as well. Here's a little close-up of the buttons. Now this just matches in perfect with this. So I'm really excited, and they're the correct size too. I will practice putting buttons in first because I've never put buttons in to anything before. So I will practice on the other one. But first I'm just gonna get this cut out and see if I can get it started. If not, if I can at least get all of this cut out today, then that will be a success. But hopefully I'm thinking once I get started and cut it out that my brain's then gonna say, well, you may as well get started sewing it, and then next thing I know, it'll be mostly done. So let's hope for that. Okay, so I don't quite have enough fabric for what I was thinking I was gonna do. So what I was thinking was the back I was also gonna have out of this fabric. But I think I'm just gonna have the front out of the nice fabric, the back out of this, and then the welt, I'm currently undecided if I want it to be out of this or out of the plain. So that's the little pocket area thing. That's the welt is these. And I have noticed, I've had a look at the pattern, and the vest with the fancy, like your nice fabric, you actually just have it with the front, and the back is usually a different fabric. And I knew that because I've looked at a lot of vests, but I was just thinking, may as well have the back looking out of this fabric too. But I just don't have enough. So that's all right. We're going to go normal and do it out of this. And then, interestingly, this part I didn't know is the front bit, the front facing. And I'll show you on the mock-up part. So this piece here, you do out of your nice fabric too. So I suppose if it peaks a little bit, you see it. So I suppose that's the way I'm going to do it. So now to cut out. I'm a little bit sad that the back is going to be plain because I think that just makes it a bit more boring. But oh well. And I think I'm just having one of those days where I'm not really fully feeling it. But I'm going to keep persevering, and hopefully my attitude will improve as I sew. So I have successfully cut out my pieces and sewed the darts into 2 of my pieces, and I think I'm going to call it a night. But my darts look pretty fantastic. I'm very pleased with them. The pins are to mark where the, what's it called? The welt goes. So that's what those are for. So it's day 3 of this project. I didn't film anything yesterday, but I made a lot of progress. I'm about halfway through. So here is the vest. I'm absolutely loving it. Now this is just the outside. That's all I've done so far. And today I have to do the lining. Now, since I last left you as well, I did go back to the shops and I got a little bit more of this fabric so I could do the back out of the same as the front, because it's just the look that we're going for. And I love these, they look perfect. I do need to get the hardware, whatever you call, like the buckle, to get these to attach to each other. And these pockets just look so perfect. I know they're not real pockets, whatever they're called, the welts. They just look so perfect. I'm really, really happy with how this project is coming so far. It's the one I'm surprisingly have been the most excited for and really, really want it to be perfect. I've never been so much with my sewing that I'm really chasing it to be as perfect as possible, but this time I am, and I'm really liking how it's turning out. So all I have to do is the lining now, but there's still a lot of steps to that. And then of course, very last will be the dreaded buttons that I need to practice first. But let's get stuck into it. Okay, I'm unpinning all this pinning work I did because I realised after I pinned it all that one, the bottom does not line up whatsoever. So I don't know if I just cut this too long or what I've done. But also that I was supposed to do the dart first, and I don't know if it makes a difference to do the dart in this piece before or after, but I'm going to follow the pattern and do the dart first, and then maybe it'll all line up better. Anyway, so now I have to do that all over again, but first, a dart.
I forgot to film me adding the dart in, but I did, and then I repinned it all together, and here I am here sewing it up. Now, this wasn't as difficult as I thought it was going to be sewing this. This fabric surprisingly wasn't as slippery as I thought. Like, it's a very slippery fabric, but because the print fabric I had wasn't the same material, sewing them together wasn't as horrendous as I thought it was going to be. The pieces that I sewed together, where it was purely the plain green, were a lot more difficult to sew. But this particular section wasn't too bad, and as you can see, I pinned it heavily. So I very much recommend using lots of pins if you do something similar to this.
This is the panel piece complete. So this is the outside inner part and this is the back, and now I just need to do another one exactly like this, but I think this turned out pretty good actually, because I was really worried because this fabric is hard to work with, but I think it all looks very good actually. So we're getting closer, but I do have a major problem. I'm almost out of thread. There's not all that much left, so we'll see how much more I can get done. So I have pinned it all up. So this is the lining and the backing all pinned together, and I've left the sides open, and I'm going to sew it up. Then I flip it, and then we're pretty close to done. How exciting. And an update on how much I have left. I have this much of this left. So I'm thinking, fingers crossed, I can get through this. I have sewn it all around the edges and overlocked it too. Now all I have to do is flip it inside out, and then we are super close to done. I think I might get everything done tonight except the buttons. So it's another day and we're back at it. It is absolutely freezing here. So I am all rugged up in an hoodie and some warm gloves. It is snowing only about 25 minutes away from my house. We're not getting snow here, but it is very, very cold. So today I'm going to be continuing on this project, and I'm actually going to be jumping back to use my practice one, and I'm going to put the buttons in. So I think all I'll do tonight, because it's very cold and I'm pretty tired today, is I'm just going to practice doing buttons in the practice one, and I'm actually going to put them all in so that way I can get my partner to try it on for size, make sure the buttons line up where they should and that it all fits nicely. And then if I'm happy with all of that, then tomorrow I will go ahead and put the buttons in here, and then I'm pretty well done aside from just getting the hardware for the back. But that's like just an assembly, not really a part of the fit. So we are so close to getting done. We're in the home stretch. I think this is like day 4 or 5 of doing this project. So we're getting close to complete. But I don't actually know anything about doing buttons, and it's the first time that I will have ever put buttons in. So I'm actually going to look up some YouTube tutorials to see how I go about putting buttons in, so wish me luck. I found a tutorial that I particularly like. I've only just started watching it, but it is about my particular sewing machine. So that's what I'm going to follow along, and I'm just going to follow along with a scrap bit of fabric here and do my first practice one on this. So if you're curious, this is the tutorial I'm following along. So it is Darlene McDonald's Faff Ambition 610 buttonhole tutorial. So that's what I'm going to follow along with step by step and try to do my first practice one on here. And I might do a few practice on here and then go to my practice garment. Wow, that turned out so perfect. Look at that. That tutorial is absolutely amazing, and my sewing machine is amazing. That was ridiculously easy. I didn't even have to sew anything. I didn't have to use the pedal or anything. Use the start stop button on your machine. If you have a faff and you want to know how to do it, follow Denise McDonald's tutorial, because that was incredible. So now I just have to work out how to sew the button in to a piece and how to pop it all together and make it all line up right. So that is working out step number 2 of this process. But I am so impressed. Can you see my buttonhole? Oh, why is it? There you go. Look at that. It's not focusing very well. Look at that. There's my buttonhole. Doesn't that look just incredible? I'm really pleased with that. So that was super easy. I attached my button into my buttonhole. Look at that. So perfect. I'm very happy. This is my practice. And now I feel confident enough to go ahead and do it on here. And I've marked out my buttonholes. I made a few mistakes, so I've done it twice. And I sort of went off my own spacing because the spacing and the pattern, I couldn't get it to quite line up how I liked. So I looked at spacing on a vest we already have and went off that a little bit more. So yes, now I'm going to do it on here and wish me luck. Also, the instructions seem, I might be reading them wrong because I read things wrong sometimes, but it seems to say on the instructions that the buttonholes are on the left side, but I'm putting them on the right side because the picture looks like they're on the right side, and they're on the right side of every other garment I found that's the same ready-made. So that's what I'm going to do, because the picture looks like it's this way, but the instructions make me think that it's the other way, but that could just be me. So anyway, let's get started. Okay, now the grand time to see if this all lines up. Wow, this looks fantastic. So I don't know what I was so afraid of. This looks fantastic. Now all I have to do is have Jesse try it on when he gets home from work tonight. But I think the spacing looks good. It doesn't look awkward. It looks great. It seems to be perfect. It was a little bit hard to get a couple of the buttons in, but I think that could also be this fabric because it's just so hard to maneuver. But if this fits, then I'll be going ahead and doing this tomorrow in the actual one. I still have to sew the inside, so just hand stitch this. So I'm probably going to do that tonight. Just sit down and do that. But other than that, it's going to be done. And I am absolutely excited. I'm really liking how this is coming along. I'm so proud of myself. So yes, we'll be back tomorrow. Fingers crossed this fits. If not, it'll just be a matter of moving like the buttonholes back a bit, but I think this will fit perfectly. So we'll see. The event has long gone and passed, but I lost the footage of me sewing the buttons on and finishing it all up. But here is the finished product. Look at those buttons. They all went on perfectly and it just looks perfect. The event has now passed and this was a hit. It worked perfect. My husband loved it. He looked fantastic in it. I'll show a little clip here of my husband wearing this. So he quite likes it and I think it'll be something that gets worn a few more times as well. and everything turned out so perfect, and this is my favorite thing I have made so far. I think maybe because I was making it for my husband and it was for like a special event, and it was something that I've never sewn before, and it just turned out so perfect. There is nothing I can fault with this. I absolutely love it. I would do this again. I really want to make a vest again now for someone. I'm thinking maybe my little brother, but I don't know when he would wear it, so I think in the future I will be making another vest. And I really recommend this pattern. It was easy to follow. It turned out perfectly. The instructions were fantastic, and I mean, you've got a little bit that you can customize, and also the pattern isn't just the vest, it also comes with a shirt pattern as well. So I will be trying out the shirt pattern in not the too distant future, so stick around to see what I think of the shirt patterns as well. But I have to say, worth this pattern for sure. Buttonholes and sewing buttons on with a sewing machine, at least with the sewing machine I have, and nothing to be afraid of. Like, I was so terrified. I'd always heard that buttons were just this horrendous thing, but it was really easy, and I'm loving how they turned out. Like, look at those buttonholes, look at my buttons, and my buttons matching so perfect. It's just a wonderful, wonderful thing, and I really recommend trying to find somewhere to sew a vest or something a bit fancy, because it was just so much fun, and I love the end product, and I love the welts. They're just so nice, and I do really like that in the end it's the same fabric on the front and the back. I know that's not typical, that normally it's a more plain one, but my husband and I both preferred it looking like this, and I love the end result so much. And this fabric is amazing. It does fray a lot though, I will say, about fabric like this, but other than that, it's perfect. And there's no fraying on the outside, it's all inside, and it's all tidied up with the overlocker now anyway. But just something to be mindful of if you work with fabric like this. So I give this pattern a 10 out of 10. I would recommend it. It was easy to follow along, and I'm just so thrilled with the results. So thank you for having a look at this video, and I hope you'll check in with the next one. Bye!